Right here at 5 o'clock, just within the last hour, members of Metro Council, the mayor's office, and other nonprofits shared their concerns in front of the JCPS superintendent, Dr. Marty Polio. We thank you for joining us. I'm Shay McAllister. This is all related to the newly voted on transportation plan for next year's school year. It comes as groups across the community are expressing frustrations with the school board's decision. Here's what they voted on last week. Next year, JCPS will discontinue service to all magnet and traditional schools, except for high schools that have a 75% free and reduced lunch enrollment. And the schools that meet that qualification right now are Central and Western high schools. Today, some council members called on JCPS to rethink the decision.
Supporting our youth and their families is essential to maintaining an equitable education process for our city. So I am asking on behalf of District 1 constituents for the Jefferson County Public School Board of Education to reverse the decision made on Wednesday, April the 10th, 2024.
And during the press conference, the council members made it clear they want multiple agencies to be included in the decision and help come up with solutions.
We don't necessarily have the solutions today, but we have a commitment to partner, whether that's with TARC, with Metro government, with our various nonprofits around our community, that people are here willing to come to the table and willing to find solutions, creative solutions that help resolve this challenge.
One of the main issues JCPS is facing is the lack of drivers. The school district has stated they don't have enough drivers for the routes needed to transport every single student. Louisville's Mayor Craig Greenberg just announced he's convening a meeting with TARC leadership to allow TARC drivers to work with JCPS. JCPS Superintendent Dr. Marty Polio said he'll welcome any TARC driver, even saying they'll get a raise. And it has been 1 year since a mass shooting at Chickasaw Park claimed 2 lives and injured 4 others. Remembering the tragedy today, LMPD Chief Jacqueline Gwen Villarreal said detectives still need help from the hundreds of people who were there that night.
To the witnesses of that shooting, please come forward. I'm actually pleading for the suspects in this case. Please come forward. Give even yourself the peace that you need and make this situation right.
At Chickasaw Park, Ian Hardwick and senior photojournalist Alyssa Newton heard from one of the victims' families.
I said I would never step foot in this park again.
But 1 year after his son's death, David Huff Sr. returned, remembering the loss of his only child, 17-year-old David Huff Jr.
I think that's the most devastating thing that I go through, is that all I wanted to see him is be a man.
Through prayer, lovers of Chickasaw Park and city leaders reflected on the mass shooting that also took 28-year-old Diaji Goodman's life and injured 4 others. Although hundreds gathered in the park the night of the mass shooting, LMPD still needs a witness to come forward with information.
But despite the tragedy, Chickasaw Park remains one of the cornerstones of Louisville's West End, still expanding as a place where families can come together, and it's been that way for over 100 years.
We never went away. We knew that this was the exception and not the norm.
West Louisville Tennis Club President Aretha Fuqua is the latest leader of the century-old organization. They teach tennis to children as young as 6.
We nurture these kids. We follow them through high school. We give them scholarships to go to college, because you can't fix a problem in a week. You follow these kids through their life, and you become an encouragement for them, and you mentor them, and you be a good example before them.
In Louisville, Ian Hardwick, WHAS11, on your side.
Again, LMPD is still looking for any information that could help them with this investigation. If you saw anything that night or you've heard anything since, they'd really love to speak with you. The anonymous tip line is 502-574-LMPD. Right now, a child's in the hospital recovering from a serious rollover crash today. LMPD says it happened around 10:30 this morning on Poplar Level Road right in front of Norton's Audubon Hospital. 2 SUVs hit each other. One of them then flipped over, according to police. The driver and young passenger were both taken to the hospital. They are both expected to survive, but officers say the child at Norton's Children's Hospital is in serious condition. And a man was arrested in southern Indiana after authorities say he fled a hit and run involving a horse and buggy. The Clark County Sheriff's Office responded to the crash right outside of Henryville. First responders say the buggy operators were taken to the hospital with injuries, but that horse was okay. Sheriff's Office says the driver fled the scene, but he was later arrested, booked into the county jail there. Sheriff Scotty Maples is urging the community to be careful when you're encountering those horse-led vehicles. Well, happy Monday to you. If you're feeling the Monday blues, this weather might have cheered you up just a bit. It's so gorgeous out there, Colleen. Hard to believe that we're getting rain later. It looks like it's just too pretty for that.
I know. I've waited a long time to see this kind of weather. In fact, this is the warmest day we've seen since September. We broke record heat today. Right now, 87 degrees. Hope you're enjoying all the beautiful sunshine. It does feel pretty hot out there, especially a shock to our system after transitioning to the spring season. But this is more like summer-like weather, almost at 90. 85 at Bowman, 85 in Fort Knox. Beautiful sunshine out there. You'll see a few clouds starting to build, but overall, right now, radar really not picking up all that much. We'll start to see those clouds build here over the next few hours. There is a low risk for seeing an isolated stronger storm past sunset tonight. So really from 8:30 till midnight of maybe seeing one of those storms having that capability of producing some wind gusts. But I think that biggest risk is going to be some hail with some of these thunderstorms. So highlighting that risk, this was released earlier this afternoon. Large hail and damaging wind possible mainly across the state of Kentucky, Seymour and Bedford and areas farther into southern Kentucky. Not as high of a risk, but it's really right across our area of seeing only 1 or 2 thunderstorms. It's really not going to be much. 30% chance of seeing it by the time we head towards 9:30 p.m. That's when that model shows some of those storms starting to fire up. They're going to be pop-up thunderstorms, what we call them. So it's not necessarily a front passing through, just some unstable air firing up some of those thunderstorms through 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to give a closer view of timing out those storms tonight and talk about other impacts later this week. Shay?
Okay, thanks, Colleen. More news right here at 5 o'clock. After it was overturned by state legislators, the Safer Kentucky Act is on its way to becoming law. Although it looks to combat crime through increased penalties, some community leaders fear it's going to do more harm than good. Jose Alonso tells us more.
House Bill 5 aims to create a safer community by changing the policy on criminal offenses, but it leaves community activists with concerns that it's targeting people who are experiencing poverty or homelessness.
We are looking at criminalizing people who are homelessness just because they sleep in a car. We're looking at criminalizing parents just because they don't have the court dates for their children.
The Safer Kentucky Act includes multiple changes on criminal offenses that some activists believe should be their own amendment.
It's an omnibus crime bill. And what we mean by that is that it increases penalties that already exist. For example, the carjacking law, that now is a specific law instead of being an amended law to a larger piece of legislation.
On Friday, state legislators overturned Governor Andy Beshear's veto. Republicans say crime is high in the state and creating harsher punishments to violent crimes like the 3 strikes law is necessary.
How many times can you burn down a house? How many people do you get to rape? How many people do you get to assault with deadly weapons? How many people do you get to kill before we put you away forever?
When something happens is not when we should be finding the solution. We should be making sure that if we have seen these things take place concurrently, that we need to find proactive solutions.
Helms says funding shouldn't go towards punishments, but rather to assisting the issue.
Many of the crimes that folks have presented to us are very much poverty crimes, and this just adds on to that toll.
As HB 5 becomes law, Helms says their organization will be keeping a close eye on its impact.
We also want to build out a task force that looks at this bill and just monitors it throughout the years as we amend it and get rid of some of the really deadly provisions that are there.
In Louisville, Jose Alonso, WHAS11 on your side.
We did reach out to Republican senators for comment, but after leaving the Senate floor, they went into a closed session. They weren't available today. And right now, Louisville Metro Council's Public Safety Committee is meeting to discuss the new Fraternal Order of Police contract, and they're seeking your input. The public's invited to weigh in on the new contract tonight. That includes immediate raises and pay increases across the board, both for new and returning officers. All LMPD officers and sergeants will see an immediate 7% boost in pay. Another round of raises would go into effect in July, bringing starting officer pay to just over $60,000 a year. It's going on right now. We will have updates on air and online as the meeting continues. And an update today, Kentucky's athletic director Mitch Barnhart says he cannot comment on the lawsuit filed by two former swim team members. The suit claims the former swim coach Lars Jorgensen sexually assaulted the swimmers and that the school purposefully disregarded multiple credible reports of inappropriate and sexual relationships. Former Kentucky swimmer and assistant coach Briggs Alexander and a Jane Doe filed that lawsuit on Friday. The suit is against Barnhart, the school, and Jorgensen. Barnhart was asked about the lawsuit during the announcement of the school's new men's basketball coach, and this is what he had to say. I always say we always want to have safety for our student athletes, our coaches, and our staff. He could not comment any further, he said, because the matter's under litigation. David Rosel, the former president of the University of Kentucky, has died at the age of 84. He was the university's 9th president, serving in the role from 1987 until 1989. After leaving Kentucky, Rosel served as the University of Delaware's president for 17 years until he retired in 2007. In 2005, the University of Kentucky opened a new residence hall on its north campus, naming it after Rosel. Rosel Hall still houses Kentucky students to this day. And Kentucky's current president, Eli Capilouto, released a statement on Rosel's passing. It reads in part, his tenure at UK in the late 1980s was marked by innovations in technology, the growth of our institution as a nationally recognized research institution, and steadfast commitment to integrity in all aspects of our university. Even in the face at times of withering criticism, he never wavered in his belief in the mission of institutions like ours and the importance of always doing things the right way. Once again, David Rosel was 84 years old.